As you grow up, everyone always asks you where you like to be when you are older. Many kids say a firefighter or a teacher. For Snyder, that was not the case. Kelly Snyder grew up in Lebanon, Pennsylvania. She put a lot of her time and focus into school. Snyder was the only one of her siblings to serve in the military. However, she did inform us that her family and friends were very supportive of her interest in joining the military.
When interviewing Kelly Snyder about her service, we asked her if being in the military was always her career choice. Snyder replied back, saying,
I think I started getting interested in the military when I was like in eighth grade. I wanted to go to West Point, the military academy.
in fact, after high school, she did graduate from college. Before enlisting into the Army, Kelly had some odd jobs while trying to figure out what she wanted to do. One job she informed us about was
I went to Switzerland for almost a year and I took care of three little Swiss kids.
Kelly Snyder originally wanted to serve in the military for at least 20 years. When we asked about the day she enlisted, Snyder had to think back to that day and said,
I just remember like out of the blue, I was just like kind of frustrated with where my life was going, and I'd always wanted to do or join the military. So I was like, oh, this is the time to do it, and just went to a recruiter at the Lebanon Valley Mall.
When you think about it, enlisting in the military can be a scary thought. Though for Snyder, she told us,
But I think knowing that like my grandpa served and just talking to them, and then I think I was in high school when like Desert Storm was taking place, and I guess just always had a want or a need to serve our country in some kind of way.
Kelly Snyder also explained to us that she was very regimented and didn't have a fear of getting yelled at, which helped motivate her to enlist into the military.
many people think about the military differently, especially if you've never been in it. Before joining the military, a lot of things are going through your head, and it can be very stressful. Luckily for Snyder, her grandfather served as well, and she got to hear him talk about it, so she was a little more prepared for what it was going to be like. Snyder shared how she imagined it.
Like my grandpa served during World War II and fought overseas, and that's just something I'll always remember is him. I think just being so proud to serve his country and just making buddies from all over the country. So I guess that's just kind of how I imagined it too. Like, you're doing your job, but you're coming from all over the US to serve our country together.
Kelly Snyder enlisted into the Army. Going into the Army, she hoped to become an officer. Unfortunately for Snyder, she informed us that
I originally wanted to become an officer because I had a college degree. I wanted to become an officer. And then I injured my back pretty soon after I got to my first duty station. That just kind of went downhill from there. So it kind of affected what my original plan was when I joined the Army.
Once enlisted into the military, Kelly Snyder had to go to basic training. This was located at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. After basic training, Snyder was sent to train to be a military police. She stayed with this training for about 17 weeks until moving into her job in the Army. As Kelly Snyder talked about her most vivid memory during training, she said,
Your highlights of the day were like shining your boots together and talking about the food you were craving because like you can only eat certain things. You're not allowed sweets and different things. So it's just kind of like it was stupid things that we talked about, but we like had so much fun. Like, if I talked about that now, it would seem dumb. But like there, you have like during basic training, you have no entertainment. Like you're sitting there doing your laundry or cleaning or doing things like that. So like, you kind of work together as a team and just kind of make the best out of it and just like have fun together.
it's interesting to know that the little things that would sound dumb now really made her experience.
when Kelly Snyder was deployed for the first time, she said,
I was actually kind of excited because at the time it seemed like they were sending like a lot of National Guard units and reserve units. And I was just like, we're the ones that train for this like all the time. And the other, the National Guard and Reserve, like they do the regular job and then they do that on the side. So I was actually excited when we were told we were going to be deploying.
getting deployed can be a scary and stressful situation. Though, as you read, Kelly Snyder was excited to have this opportunity.
Kelly Snyder served at multiple bases throughout the world, some of which include being in Afghanistan, the Netherlands, and Hawaii. When asked how she traveled from base to base, her response was this.
We were on like a normal like civilian plane, but it was just military people on it. So, like we traveled in uniform, we had all of our weapons with us. I think we had like a few kind of layovers so that they could refuel the plane. But I think we went to Los Angeles, then Bangor, Maine, and I think Germany and then Turkey. And then they call it like the staging place. So we staged in Kyrgyzstan. And I think we spent like the night there. The next day we all got on, they're called C-130s, they're army planes. So we got on those and we flew on those into Afghanistan. So those planes aren't comfortable if you.
One of the bases she was at there was Bagram Air Base in Afghanistan. Snyder said it was a large base and they first stayed with a large number of people. It was hard to sleep in the beginning because of the constant fighter jets and helicopters taking off and landing constantly. The Afghanistani locals liked the people Snyder was with, and they seemed very intrigued by the American women, is how she described the situation. We asked her about where she stayed at different bases, and she described them.
Hawaii, I was in the barracks, so that's like a college dorm kind of setup. In Afghanistan, it was like one of the huts then that we shared with like 8 other people. And then in the Netherlands, the base was so small, so they didn't have barracks. So we were able to stay in apartments out like in the local economy.
Hawaii was another place Snyder was stationed and liked a lot, but not her favorite. Due to her love of Europe, she liked Shannon and the Netherlands the most.
Snyder was a part of the 58th Military Police Company. It's a unit she served with in Hawaii and the same people that went with her to Afghanistan. Being far away from home so long, they became each other's family. Snyder served as a military policeman during Operation Enduring Freedom at Bagram Air Base. During Operation Enduring Freedom, her platoon did multiple things. They guarded the Tactical Operations Center, did presence patrols at neighboring towns, helped in the Quick Reaction Force team, guarded the detained facility, and were military police officers on base. During her time in the military police, she has arrested people typically for speeding on base, theft, and domestic violence. Snyder said,
Yes, I was very proud to be a part of them just because I think it's kind of cool. Like, they often say like women can't be in combat. Like, it was men and women going out on our missions. And so I thought that was pretty cool.
very honored, especially being a woman in a stereotyped man's job.
Finally, after about 8 years of service, Snyder finished her duty. She was in the Netherlands when she finished, and she went back home to PA. She saved her leave before coming home and stated,
Like save our leave. So we get like 30 days of leave each year, and we could save up to 2 months to use when we were getting out. So it's kind of nice. Like I had 2 months that I was still getting paid by the Army, and I was at home just kind of hanging out.
she was given a warm welcome home from her family, mentioning how her mom always did special things for her, like greeting her at the airport with signs and balloons. She retained friendships, however, she said it was hard because of being from all over the country. By the end of her service, Snyder had quite the collection of awards.
I have like my bottom room in my house. I call it like my American military room. So it's like, you know, my family members who have been in the military, their pictures and all, sorts of stuff like that. So that's where I have those.
Names of the medals she was given are the Army Commendation Medal, Army Achievement Medal, Army Good Conduct Medal, National Defense Service Medal, Afghanistan Campaign Medal, Global War on Terrorism Expeditionary Medal, and the Global War on Terrorism Service Medal. She also earned the Army Service Ribbon and Overseas Ribbon. Hard work really does pay off, and she has a nice display room to prove it.
All things do have a price, however. As mentioned, Snyder wanted to be in the service for 20 years, but after a back injury that 3 surgeries couldn't get back to new, leaving the service became her best option. When asked about how the service impacted her general thoughts about the military and war in general, her response was,
I was very proud to be in the military, and I'm very grateful for the people who continue to serve. I think it depends on the situation whether or not I think we should be there helping. I think we did do a lot of good when I was in Afghanistan. We helped the people a lot there. So, I think with that, it just depends on the situation.
She stated as well that she does miss being in the Army, but her injuries made it difficult to stay in. A message Snyder has let out is,
kind of like I said before, just, be thankful for what we have in the U.S. I know there's been a lot of unrest lately, but, I think we still have it really good here, and I'm am truly proud to be an American, and I hope everyone is too. But we are very lucky and fortunate to live here.
A well explained extra point Snyder added was,
Like good to ask questions. Like I loved learning. My one grandfather passed away, but the one he served in Italy during World War II, and I just loved asking him questions. But I guess just be cautious with questions too. Like I know I've had students ask me if I've ever killed anyone. I never have, but if I had, like that's not something I'd want to talk about, and asking questions like that could trigger bad memories for people. But like don't be afraid to ask questions too. Like again, like I just love learning from my grandpa, and he never shared any gory or upsetting things. He just really always talked about the men he served with, and I loved hearing that. So, and don't be afraid to thank veterans when you see them either. Like I love seeing like I go to the veterans hospital for my health care, and I just love seeing the old veterans there and talking to them and learning from them.
Veterans had experiences and lessons a majority of people do not, and they are great to learn from.
overall, it may be said that veterans are very important and brave people. Kelly Snyder is honored to have served for her country and share her story. She is one of the few Americans to willingly risk her life for the better of the country and to protect her country's people. From Snyder's story, a brief thought of what she would like remembered from her story, she said was,
Just like I told you, I had always like put it off about trying to join the military because I was scared I couldn't do it. So I'd say, hey, go after what you want. Um, I'm glad I did do it because I wouldn't want to be my age now and go, oh man, I wish I would have tried it. Because now it's too, it would have been too late. They, only accept you up to a certain age. So go after what you want in life. And hey, if you fail, you failed, but you tried. And you never know, you might succeed and really enjoy it too.
for her service in the military, Kelly Snyder decided to go back to school to get her master's degree in education. Once she got her certification for teaching, that has been her job ever since. We would like to sincerely thank Kelly Snyder and all fellow veterans for their service and your time reading.